Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today I want to share my worst purchases of 2021. My last video was my Closet Travel Awards, if you will, sharing the best purchases from the past year. So many of you liked that video. Some of you even asked if I would share some of my worst purchases from the year as well. So I wanted to quickly share that before the new year comes. I figured that would be a good final video for the year to reflect on all of my purchases and then head into the new year with a clearer mind and a better sense of what I want and what I need to add to my collection. I carried over the same kind of awards ceremony format, though they're going to seem pretty negative because they are worst purchases. So I hope you still enjoy. If you're tuning in for the first time, hi, I'm Katie. I like to do these luxury fashion videos here on YouTube. I share hauls and reviews, but at the end of the day, I share my journey so we can all mindfully curate our own collections. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below with your worst purchase this year. All of your support really means a lot to me. I do want to preface this video with one other kind of general philosophy I have for purchasing items. I only have 5 items to share. Unlike my best purchases where I had 10, it was pretty difficult for me to nail down even 5 items that I really wanted to mention in this video. So none of these items are really things that I hate. They're not necessarily things that I'm going to be selling or getting rid of. And that's because I don't really purchase items unless I really like them. I was talking about it with my boyfriend as well, and he was like, well, is there anything that you returned? And I'm like, if I'm going to return it, or if I feel like I'm going to return it, I don't buy it. So there are very few things that come in and then get returned afterwards, especially from these like luxury brands. I will return clothing a lot of times because sometimes I buy them online. I have to try them on. I have to see how they fit. When it comes to like Chanel or Louis Vuitton, even Hermes, I very rarely will purchase something because if I get the inkling that I might return it, I just will actually leave. If I still think about it the next day, then I'll purchase it. But if not, then I sort of move on. And then if there's something that really doesn't work for me, I eventually say goodbye to that item. I'm planning on doing a handbags I sold from my collection over the years video in January. So stay tuned for that one where I'll talk through why certain styles didn't work out for me. You'll also see how few items I've actually ever rehomed from my collection. So stay tuned for that. I'll go into more detail in that video. But anyway, let me share my 5 worst purchases from 2021. So the first category is the most disappointing item. This is something that I purchased. You might be a little bit surprised if you haven't watched all of my videos. This is something that I purchased earlier this year, really, really loved, but did have a disappointing episode with it. That is my Louis Vuitton side strapped t-shirt, strap detail on the side, and there are these little, I call them charms. They're like little rivets and LV charms around the neckline. And I got this, I think, in February. I absolutely loved this t-shirt. I love the fit of it. I love the little extra detail you get around the neckline. It feels like such a good, like, classic black t-shirt, but it has these extra elements that just make it a little elevated, right? It doesn't seem like a plain black t-shirt, but it isn't loud like, it has a huge logo or it's really monogrammed, or you know what I mean? So that's what I really, really loved about this shirt. If you remember in the summertime, I had a video talking about my repair saga with this particular item. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it up above so you can check it out for more details. Within a few months of having this t-shirt, actually one of the rivets fell out. So luckily it wasn't one of the charm items, it was one of the circular rivets, but they did fall out of the t-shirt. That's when I found out that Louis Vuitton does not offer repairs on their ready-to-wear. I was really surprised. Everybody in the store was pretty much on the same page that that was very uncharacteristic of what they expected Louis Vuitton clothing to do, especially given the short amount of time that I had the piece. So they offered to exchange it. Also, luckily, this is a classic item, so it was replaceable. They were able to locate another one in my size, and so I just did a swap a few months later. So you know, in the end, I do have my shirt back. I'm still happy about it. I still love to wear it. But I did, just if I think about the pieces that I got in 2021, that was the most disappointing because it had that issue with it. The next category is the most ill-fitting. So it's not quite the right size, I think, or the best size for me. And that would be my Louis Vuitton Dragonne, I think that's how it's pronounced, but it's the key ring. This one in particular was part of the Mirror collection. That was fall winter men's, fall winter 21 men's. I still use it, but why I put this in this category of worst purchases is because it's a little too big. Now, this is the challenge that happens when you pre-order items, because you pre-order off of a photo, and a lot of times the photo is like, I don't know, like an inch. It's like not a very large photo. It's probably 2 inches, let's be real. But it's usually small. You don't get the full dimensions. You don't get a lot of detail. I'm pretty sure this is an existing style. So when it is like, you know, a pocket organizer or like a speedy, or, you know, if it's an existing style that comes with a new kind of finish or a new colorway, you have reference to the existing piece. I didn't think much about it, honestly, because I was like, oh, it's a keychain, like how big could it be? When it finally arrived and I opened it, I remember thinking, oh, like that's quite a bit larger than I expected it to be. I thought it would be maybe an inch smaller. The width is fine. It's more just how tall it is. This length is just big enough that it's kind of large for my mini bags. It will fit, don't get me wrong, but I do have to like maneuver it in there. Also, because it's like a loop style, it has an extra inch of this width. And you know, for mini bags, like real estate is limited, right? So anything that's like slim or petite and just, you know, tucks in somewhere is perfect. But this actually requires a good amount of space. And so I find myself having to like squish it down just so I can fit it between my wallet and catch-all so it kind of stays in there. It's not too big to the point that I can't use it, but it's just big enough where I'm like, like every time I'm like, okay, all right, like let me just like figure out how to make you know, it requires an extra few seconds to like get it all sorted out. So that's why this one is the most ill-fitting. I will still use it, I have it, and I'm fine with that. I wanted something from the Mirror collection that wasn't an SLG, so that's why I opted for this piece, and I'm happy to have it. It's just, you know, it just irks me a little bit, that's all. The next category is going to be the most frivolous. And this might not come to a surprise to anybody, especially if you've been watching my videos for a while. It lives in this little box here, so you know what type of item this is. And I consider this to be the most frivolous because it is a beautiful Twilly. It is the Hermes Tea Time Twilly that I think was part of like a spring summer collection. It was like really popular, and it's super cute, don't get me wrong. Again, I love the motif, but I also know myself, and even when I bought this, I knew that I might not really use it a lot, and lo and behold, I don't. But I did want to get a Twilly as I was getting my beautiful Kelly. It's a very weird phenomenon for me. I'm going to see if in 2022, if I am fortunate enough to be able to add another bag to my collection, whether I can resist the urge of getting a Twilly with it. At the time that I was getting my Kelly, I did see this Twilly, and I was excited that they had it because I thought they were pretty much all sold out. And I did want to get a Twilly to sort of commemorate getting my bag. But if you think about it, I already know I'm not really going to be using this Twilly, and I have the bag. So why do I need to commemorate the bag with another item? Like it doesn't make any sense. I 100% am with you. If you think it sounds crazy, it's because it is. I totally agree. that's why it's the most frivolous, because I almost 100% know I'm very unlikely to use this item, but I will still get it. Next year, I will challenge myself to add this Twilly to my bags sometimes, even if it's just to like change up the look here and there. I will try, but you know, this was definitely an extra purchase. This was definitely something I did not need to get. Speaking of not really using an item, the next category is my least used this entire year. This is one where I just feel like I don't naturally gravitate towards it. It's one where I have to remind myself to go out of my way and make sure I use it. And it comes in this little dust bag. So these are my Louis Vuitton Millionaire clears. And I love how these look. Let me just pop them on real quick. I love how these look, 100%. And it even like kind of goes with my outfit today. So I might actually wear them today, but that's besides the point. I consider these to be my least used because I have to remind myself that I haven't worn them in a while and that I should. And when I feel like I have to tell myself that, then it's an item that I don't, for one reason or another, I don't naturally sort of gravitate towards and incorporate into my outfits or kind of cycle through them. I know I can put prescription in the actual lenses, but I'm not really interested in doing that. I want them to be more of like a fashion item rather than having lenses in them, because once I put lenses in them, if my prescription changes, then it turns into a headache of like, do I update these to be able to wear them more, all of that stuff. So I don't mind wearing them with contacts because I feel like they're such a statement piece anyway. But yeah, I find myself like not wearing them as often. So that's why I needed to feature them as my least used. The last category is called my most useless. Now, this sounds really harsh, but hear me out, okay? It's not meant to be overly negative, but this was like the best word I could think of. Because I really don't have any use for it, okay? I know I can use it in certain ways, but it's like I don't really want to use it that way, so it's definitely one of those where it's sitting there and being pretty. It's another Hermes piece that I am so fortunate to have, and that is my little Rodeo Pegasus. I was well aware that I didn't really know what I was going to use this for at the time that I was getting it. However, I just love the Pegasus Rodeos. With the regular Rodeos in the past, I noticed they were cute, but I was like, I don't know what I'm going to use this for. I don't think I have much use or purpose, so I don't need to get one. But once I saw the Pegasus ones, I was like, I really want one. It's just too cute. And again, it's another one of those irrational moments. I also got this in Hawaii while I was getting all of my other items. So I know I was definitely on like a shopping high. You know how that happens. I was not buying all of these things though in hopes that I would get a bag. I was still buying things that I really wanted and I liked. And this was something that I knew I wanted from earlier in the year. Like the first time I saw it, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. I want it. And I know lots of people like to wear these as like a little bag charm, but I'm not a huge bag charm person on my Hermes bags necessarily. So it's literally just sitting next to all of my bags and it's looking really cute and I absolutely adore it. I love having it there, but like I said, it's pretty useless. Outside of being a decorative item, it's pretty useless. It's not having much function. Not that everything needs to have crazy function or anything, but I know that I don't really use these for anything, so I'm telling myself like I'm really happy I have one. I'm unlikely to be growing a whole collection of them, so it's super cute. I'm happy to have it, but it's definitely like my least used, most useless item. I wasn't planning on it this way, but all of my items for worst purchases this year are actually Louis Vuitton or Hermes. Whoops. But I guess I could be comforted in the fact that they're all pretty small items, so they're either SLGs or accessories and things like that. So I guess the damage wasn't too bad in terms of having a worse purchase. I think the takeaway that I have looking at the items that are part of my worst purchases of this year is that this is what I'm telling myself. Let's be a little bit smarter. When I'm adding pieces, let's not necessarily fall too much into the trap of, oh, it's a limited edition collection or it's this or that, and make sure I'm really adding pieces that I'm going to enjoy. Sometimes you just need to get the piece to get it out of your system, and then you'll know that it's not good for you or it's not something you really need to continue buying into. And I feel like compared to previous years, like 2019 and 2020, in 2021, I was able to resist the temptation of getting something from a brand new collection. I got much better at really objectively looking at the collection and seeing if I actually would wear any of those pieces outside of the next few months. And if I couldn't see myself wearing it next year or 6 months down the line, then I wouldn't get it. I still fell into it. There's the Millionaire collection, there was the Hermes Tea Time. Like, I still fell into it, but it's a lot less than I think I've done in the past. And the pieces that I would get to commemorate those collections are smaller. Like, I'm not getting a new bag from that collection. I'm not necessarily getting a ready-to-wear piece, but it's much more like, you know, small leather goods, something to have to remember, but, you know, didn't break the bank doing it. Let me know if you feel like you had any worse purchases this year and why, like why it didn't work out for you, because I think hearing why things don't work out for people is really helpful for other people to figure out if it's going to work for them or not. So definitely let me know in the comment section down below. As the year is coming to a close, I do want to say a huge thank you to all of you. Thank you to everyone who's joined this community. Thank you for the tremendous support and feedback that all of you have shared throughout the year. I will be taking all of that with me into next year, and I look forward to continuing this journey with all of you by my side. And I'm actually really looking forward to what 2022 has in store. So thank you so much. I'm wishing you all the best in the new year, and cheers! If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new fashion related videos every Sunday and Wednesday. So until next time, bye!